Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome. My name is Sean Maroney. I'm your host and moderator, and welcome to International Focus's Global Diplomacy Dialogue with visitors from Belarus this week. We're really excited. We're going to be focusing on mediation as an alternative form of dispute resolution, and we're really lucky because not only will we have our esteemed guests who are pros in Belarus here, but we'll also have their connection and equally a pro from our area in Raleigh. So I just want to welcome our alumni from the Community Connections program back in 2014. We have Mr. Arsen Dzhanashia and we have Miss Aksana Shulha. Both welcome.
Thank you.
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
And joining us from Raleigh, we have Mr. Frank Laney. Frank, welcome.
Hello. Thank you. Good to be here.
And I would like to take a special moment to thank our sponsors for this week, Sharon Goldenberg and Jeffrey LaRiche. If you're interested in helping keep these dialogues every Friday going, I encourage you to reach out to Layla Bekri, Executive Director for International Focus, and encourage your friends to check out internationalfocus.org to see about joining, because again, these discussions are open to members. If you are just now joining us, I want to remind you to please put yourselves on mute. And a little bit later on in the program, I will be asking for questions from the audience. Hopefully we'll have some good discussions so that you can come up with some to send via the chat. Well, Arsen, I want to start with you because mediation, I think generally we all have an idea of what that means, but you just became a certified mediator. So why don't you explain to us how the process works in Belarus?
I was a mediator. My interest in mediation started near 20 and 12 years. And I work as a psychologist in school with pupils and students, and I saw that so many conflicts and problems in relationships, and I find mediation as a tool for dispute resolution. And my interest was just interest. Information about mediation in Belarus was not so many information was in Belarus about mediation. And my friend Marina Boyka, she has more experience in mediation, and she I think she teach me. My first teacher in mediation was Marina Boyka. And after the first meeting with mediation, I know about, I was interested in program of community connection with topic mediation is as alternative technology in dispute resolution. And after this program, my interests stay strong, and I learned a lot about mediation in Belarus. And after that program, I make a decision about mediation as my status in Belarus through Ministry of Justice, because in Belarus you can make a mediation, make a practice in mediation only if you have the.
You have to be certified by the government.
If you certified mediator. And in this year, in January, I've got this certificate, and I take training, 3 weeks training in one of organization in Belarus, and have a little exam case for exam, and after some writing some papers, I have this certificate.
Congratulations. I know you must work very hard on that, and it's it's nice to hear that it was really transformative, your time in the Triangle through that State Department program with international focus, to kind of really honing your skills and your interest in mediation. Aksana, you're a trainer of mediators in Belarus, and you've trained more than 100. What do you see attracts people in your country to want to become mediators?
Mhm. Yes, I started to work as a trainer since 2015. And I trained, since that, I have trained psychologists, lawyers, other people of other specialities. For example, lawyers are very interested in mediation as a way to work as a mediator, to be a mediator, because we can see many restrictions of court decisions during dispute resolution. And if we can advise people, propose people to take mediation as a very good tool, as a very good process to resolve their conflicts, it's very important for them. Also, some of our students are very interested in mediation because it's something very new for them. And these trainings, they took like a course of personal development as well. And also I have many colleagues, they work for schools, and they prefer to be trained as a mediators because there are a lot of conflicts at schools, not only between students, but between teachers and parents. And for example, some days ago, I had one story. One psychologist came to school in Grodno to be hired for work, and the director of school asked her about mediation. Do you know school mediation? She said no. So they were not happy to take her for work, and they refused her to take for work because she doesn't know mediation. So mediation in school is becoming very popular in Belarus.
Oh, and it's a very timely thing. Arsen, why don't you talk us through what's about to happen through the laws in your country? You're about to adopt new laws regarding mediation.
I'm sorry, can you repeat your question? Because
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So come July 1st, there will be new laws in Belarus that will change the way things are done there. Is there anything that you can talk to us about on that?
The law about mediation in Belarus is very young. The general law about mediation, and this law about family mediation will work at 1st of July. I think is a great thing because a lot of people in Belarus don't know about mediation or family mediation or mediation in another fields, in another directions. And I think in Belarus now the time when mediation take more popularity in
well, it is becoming a very popular.
Yes.
I don't know if popular is the most technically accurate term. It's just, I mean, obviously, if you're at a position where you need to have mediation, something's broken down. But this seems to be the most effective way for resolution. Most likely, if it's anything like in the U.S. in far cheaper and far less risk than going to court in front of a jury, maybe. I know that the United Nations, the most recent figures that I saw back from 2018, Aksana, I want to direct this to you, said that out of family disputes, which is the vast majority, at least at that time, of mediations in the country, about 80 to 85% of cases that were family disputes were actually resolved in mediation. Before mediation was adopted in Belarus, was it a far different picture? Like, what if there was a family dispute, what was the system then before mediation became in vogue as it is now?
Before mediation, the people came to court to resolve their family disputes, just court system. And after,
I would imagine it would have been a costly and would have been a timely, or would have been a long process?
In our country, family dispute resolution is not very long, and it's not very expensive. But for example, if family or spouses would like to divide their property, they have to pay a fee about 5% of the cost of the whole property. And if they go to mediation, they don't need to pay this fee, this government fee. So for them, it's better to go for mediation to divide properties now.
Well, that's certainly a large savings for those who find themselves in the system. I'm curious too, we've been talking about family disputes for mediation, but Belarus is one of the 46 states that upheld or signed back to the Singapore Convention on Mediation, and that's specifically focusing on international commerce, international trade. That is very prominent of Belarus to sign to that. And is there a hope, Arsen, that that will help with international trade for Belarus?
I should say that the Ministry of Justice have provided many documents to help mediation to develop in our country. And mediation is becoming popular. And so many cases are proposed to take mediation. And also we have a lot of events like conferences, meetings, international meetings as well, where we discuss a lot of possibilities. For example, mediation, like restorative mediation, economic mediation, of course, family mediation as well. These events help people to get to know about mediation as very effective tool more and more.
Yes, I think mediation in Belarus have a stage when people need more information about mediation. Mediation can be give to people not directly, but people now need more information about mediation in Belarus, more about opportunities about in mediation. What pluses people can have take part in mediation, or use mediation as a chance to change relations for his future, their future.
Well, Arsen, you told us a little bit of how your trip to the Triangle affected your trajectory professionally. Aksana, I'm curious, what propelled you to take part of this program, and what were your impressions of being in North Carolina?
I should say that this visit has changed my life completely. I knew about mediation before I came to North Carolina, but after I came back, So I I get a certification of a mediator. I was certificated in 2015. Then I started to be a trainer, and I realized many projects on family and school mediation and restorative mediation in Grodno region. And some months ago, I was proposed to become the director of Belarusian League of Family Mediators. So I have to move in Minsk. I have to change my city. Now I am living in Minsk because of my new opportunity and my new job. And of course, this visit was very impressive and was very interesting because we had a lot of opportunities to see mediation in different spheres. I remembered when we went to the court and saw real mediation, real court mediation. It was very impressive and sometimes unbelievable. Also, I remembered when we visit universities and saw training programs there, and now we have a lot. We have just enough training programs at the most universities in our country. Also, we had an opportunity to be trained as family mediators, and it helped us even to later to make a book on family and financial mediation, which we published some years ago in Belarus. And also, we were very impressed about restorative mediation. And now we are trying to do many programs on restorative mediation in our country.
Well, speaking of the tremendous training that you received here, I would like to invite into the conversation Frank. Frank Laney is a circuit mediator with the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit. He's in Raleigh. And sir, you got to meet both of them when they came to visit. And what was your impression? I mean, we're seeing them and hearing about the fantastic things that they're doing now in their country after being a part of this program. Obviously, I would imagine that you saw this as a special group coming in. Would you have imagined that what they were witnessing here would take so well in Belarus?
To be honest, I'm not all that surprised. Before I met them, Maria was I use the analogy, sort of like the dog that caught the car. She had applied and had all these mediators coming to North Carolina and going, great, now what do I do? And so sort of through some friends, she and I met and we had lunch together. And so I talked to her about mediation opportunities in North Carolina and places that these mediators could go to learn some things. And so I was very, very pleased to be able to help Maria plan some of their program. And so through that program, I was able to meet with them. Matter of fact, they came to my house and had dinner one evening, and I talked to them about the kind of mediation that I do and how I do it. And so I was able to get to know them pretty well. And so the reason I'm not surprised is because where they were at that point in time was sort of where North Carolina was about 15, 20 years earlier. And so I had seen this same sort of arc, that in North Carolina, when I was a young lawyer, nobody knew what mediation was. Nobody used mediation. There was a very small group of people that knew. And so, my faith in mediation is that if you try it, you'll love it. It's just getting people over that first hurdle of trying it. As a matter of fact, I tell people on a regular basis, try it twice. If you still don't like it, come back and complain. But don't tell me up front, this is not going to work. Try it twice. Then you can complain once you understand it. And nobody ever complains. Once they try it, they love it. So to be honest, no, I'm not surprised that once, some very active and energetic people from Belarus came and learned a little bit more about it. Of course, I mean, they already had a statute. I think the incentive of them coming was the Belarus earlier that same year had passed the very first statute authorizing mediation. And so they wanted to, kind of figure out how to make a more robust program. So these 10 mediators came here. So it was no surprise to me that once they went back and, got working, that people got to where they liked it. Just like Aksana was saying, the principal says, school psychologist, if you don't know anything about mediation, I don't want you in my school. I want a psychologist who understands and promotes mediation in my school because it's good for my school. So, once it was tried, they loved it. And Aksana is being coy or being modest. I call her the godmother of school mediation in Belarus. I mean, she is, for those of y'all that know American mythology, she is Johnny Appleseed of school mediation. She has spread school mediation all over Belarus. And I'll be honest and say, Belarus is way ahead of most states in the United States, in my knowledge, as far as promoting and using mediation in the school systems. They are doing some great things there. The law, the way it was structured in Belarus, as far as the courts go, it's been a little harder to get in. We were very blessed in North Carolina to have some very, very high placed judges who took the lead and basically drug all the judges along and said, you're going to try this. And whereas in Belarus, there's not exactly the same dynamic, but they are certainly making a lot of progress on getting into the court systems. And once again, once lawyers, judges, litigants, citizens try it, they love it. And so it's no real surprise to me that they are making such rapid progress. I mean, like I said, they were where we were 15, 20 years earlier. They're making faster progress than we did, 15, 20 years ago.
That's interesting to see where North Carolina was and where we are now, and then to see the fruits to further along that Johnny Appleseed, the fruits coming to that country in a different way. It's interesting how it was really through the judges in North Carolina, but it seems to be a more organic grassroots effort in Belarus, thanks to folks like Anna.
Exactly.
You mentioned, just real quick, you mentioned
sure.
Marina Dzhanashia. I just want to let everyone who is watching, when you hear Marina, first welcome, she's listening in. She's with the Community Connections Program Manager of World Learning. So she made it possible for the group from Belarus to come to us. So just wanted to say thank you, and thank you, Frank, for mentioning her. But I'm sorry, not to cut you off. What were you about to say?
Well, I wanted to sort of share kind of how I got into this. As they were leaving, as a matter of fact, Aksana was the main one that I think I was talking to. As they were getting ready to leave, I said, I really loved meeting with you people and love working with you. If I can come to your country and work with more mediators there, I would love to do that. And it took about a year to figure it out. And they tried one method of getting me there and it didn't work. But as I like to say, they were as good mediators. They did not take the first no to be the final answer, and so they worked on figuring out another way. And so what they figured out was the method, and was that I would go there and I would teach a class, and people would pay for the class, and then they would take that money and buy my airplane ticket, because that's basically my cost of going over there. If they'll buy me an airplane ticket, I will come and I will teach. Because I work for the courts, I cannot accept any money for my work, and I don't want any money. So I stay in people's houses. I've stayed in Arsen's house. I've stayed in Aksana's house. I've stayed in Marina's house. And so I love staying with the people there, and spend all my time with them, teaching mediation during the day, and having fun conversations in the evening. And they were talking a little bit about the international aspect of it. Marina Boyka, who Arsen was talking about very early on, she's also a leader in the field there. And one of her special projects with Arsen and Aksana and a bunch of other people is to host an international festival. And so,
okay. I wasn't sure if that was the same person when you mentioned that. Arsen, I've read about that. It's called the Fiesta, and some 300 folks from around the world come to it. It's been going on for like 4 years, I think.
Well, the fifth one was supposed to be this year, but unfortunately with COVID, it got canceled. Yes.
Well, and I like, Frank, your take. This is unique to any other global diplomacy dialogue episode we've had, because we now are seeing, we keep talking about and listening about the participants who come from their countries to the Triangle and experience our host families and our Southern hospitality, but we've never been able to hear from someone in our area who essentially participated in the exact same thing, just on the other side of the pond. And if you aren't the poster child for folks wanting to be host families here, I don't know who else will be. I do know, Aksana, when you were here, you made some food for your host family. I believe you were staying with Doug Deaton.
Yeah.
How was your cooking received here? It's different than what typical Southern food is, right?
Yes, American food is different, but I remember when Lena, I lived with Lena and we prepared some Belarusian dishes for Doug, and he loved it.
What did you make? Do you remember?
We made some pancakes, like potato pancakes, cottage cheese pancakes, some Russian salads as well. So it was nice.
It was perfect.
You have no idea what you're missing.
Yeah,
Cooking is so good.
As we get close to dinner time here in Raleigh, I am enjoying hearing what you made. And Arsen, when you stayed, you were here with Tom McGuire and Kim Ledford. Do you remember anything about your host family?
Yes. I was impressed hospitality from Kim and Tom. Their house was wonderful, and I think and I'm sure that their house wonderful now. It was great time and great opportunity for meeting with American culture, American cuisine, food, traditions. It was great, really great. And I want to say today too, and in the past and today, I want to say thank you for Kim and Tom, for all people who we met in 2014, and for Frank, because this part of our visit was really great. So we have trainings and we have another life, another life when training is over and we go to home and just talking, eating, and do something. It was really great. Thank you.
I wanted to thank for the folks who have joined us since we started. Remind everyone to send me your questions for our panel via the chat. Just send them to me and I will direct them to the panel. Let's talk about something, Frank, you alluded to it with the cancellation of this year's fiesta for international mediation training in Belarus. COVID-19, it's the specter that doesn't seem to go away. Over the course of the past 2 months, when we've had these discussions each Friday, we've been hearing from literally all over the world of how they've been reacting, what they've been facing. Aksana, you're about to change cities. How has COVID been treating you, your family, your loved ones, your current city, and what do you think? Do you think it's going to be getting any better?
So we don't have compulsory obligations not to go for work or for study, but of course, as I teach at university as well. So we changed all our lectures and seminars into online form. So we try to make minimum contacts with people, with students. So, and all our lectures, we continue teaching by Zoom or by other platforms. And also, for example, I have a daughter. She's a school child. From March, she didn't go to school until the end of the school year. So she did some school home, but she stayed at home all this time.
What about you, Arsen? What's your experience and that of your family? In the
Mm, with my family is everything good, thank God. But I know some people and two of my friends have status of contact of first level, who make contact with people who have COVID-19. I agree with Aksana. My university have no quarantine, but our lessons and our exams, some exams going by Skype or Zoom, and we make a program about minimization contacts, teachers with students and students and students. Yes, but with my family, is everything good. Thank you.
Well, good. It's good to hear both of you. Your families are good in the midst of all this. I want to let you know, Arsen, that Kim just sent a message. Kim Ledford, your hostess, and she said that they loved hosting you, and they're good to see you live, and that your English is much improved since 2014. And they said congratulations for your becoming a certified mediator.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Kim.
Frank, I'm curious, when you travel to Belarus, I've never been to Belarus. What's your experience there? What can we know as avid travelers and folks who are going stir crazy here at home? Most of International Focus's membership are world travelers, and we want to at least get out of Raleigh at some point. What do we need to know from a Southerner's perspective going to Belarus, what to expect?
It's a wonderful place. I have been there 5 times, 6 times, and have thoroughly enjoyed it every single time. Admittedly, I have great friends to hang out with, people who treat me wonderful, but it's a great place. One thing that I'll say to international travelers is it is extremely safe. I have never even seen a situation where I felt the least bit uncomfortable or unsafe. There's a slightly higher military / police presence than maybe on the streets of Raleigh or New York or whatever, but not much. And I've, never, they've never interacted with me. I've never interacted with them. And I've never never had any reason to feel I was, unsafe. So it's extremely safe. There's no reason to be afraid of pickpockets or whatever. I won't say there are none there, but I've never been concerned about it. The people there are kind and warm and generous. Everyone has been over backwards to try to make sure that that I'm taken care of, that I have a good time. Life is cheap there. A meal that would cost me $15 here in Cary, I can probably get there for 5 or 6 in a nice restaurant. And so, and also I've never stayed in a hotel there, but my impression is that hotel bills are also, in a big city like Minsk of a couple million people, you can get a hotel room for $100, $150 a night rather than $300, $400, $500 in New York. So it's not going to be real expensive. They have excellent transportation as opposed to in Raleigh and North Carolina. We have mediocre in my opinion, but I use the buses and they have more trains than we do. Our trains, may be honest, a little bit nicer, but they do have trains, more trains than we do. But the transportation system, I've never had trouble getting from city to city. And it's also quite cheap. You get on sort of like a 15-passenger van, and there's a drive of like 3-4 hours. They stop in the middle of it, let you go to the bathroom, you buy your ticket there. I guess the philosophy is, well, if you don't pay for your ticket here, you can walk the next 2 hours to the next city.
That's an effective form of getting payment.
And And the tickets, I don't remember exactly, but are like, you know, $3 or $4. I mean, just very, very cheap to get from city to city. And it's very comfortable. So it's a great place. The land is fairly flat. It's rolling, but fairly flat. There are no mountains. Lots and lots of forests, big, huge, ancient trees in their forests. The ground there is very, very rich. If you're farmers, you know that black soil is the best, and they've got the blackest of soil. So lots of things grow there. Then they have a number of, you know, historic monuments, places to go see that I have been fortunate enough for my friends to take me to various places, and I've always enjoyed it. But Minsk is developing a reputation for a vibrant nightlife, you know, even casinos and that sort of thing. Not my particular style, but it's a great place to go visit. I've had a wonderful time every time I've gone.
Well, and we can only hope to have the VIP treatment that you enjoy now that we have two new friends in Belarus for all of us. Getting back, and I want to apologize if my camera's cut. We were just having some weather move into the area here in Southeast Raleigh, and my internet connection seems to be on the fritz, but as long as you can still hear me, that's good. I wanted to say, Arsen, you just became a mediator, and we've heard about your experience here in North Carolina. You're actually now going internationally yourself as a consultant. You're going to Uzbekistan to consult for mediation. How did you get involved with that?
Yes, thank you. It was new and great experience for me. Yes, I was international consultant for UNDP in Uzbekistan about in mediation, in family mediation field. This organization asked me to tell for mediators in Uzbekistan about methodology and family and mediation and family mediation.
So it sounds like you're going the grassroots approach that Aksana has been doing in your country, and you're doing your part to spread the ability for folks to be able to be mediators abroad.
Yes, but it was really hard working for me because I have a time limit, and it was big content for information and information for working and for make a part of a book. This book was on Russian, and some mediators from Belarus take a part in this project too. Lydia Vlasova, maybe a friend, you know, I'm sure you know her. Lydia Vlasova and Alessia Pukhova, they take a part in this project too, and it was really great for me. And thank you for Lydia Vlasova because she made an advertisement my name for UNDP in Uzbekistan, and she's a really great mediator in Belarus.
I have a question from Mr. Carmichael in the audience, and I will open it to the panel, but I suspect there's a U.S. Focus on this. So Frank, I will defer to you first. But he was talking about how working at UNCG, which is part of the university system for our Belarusian friends in the state, they have tried to install an ombudsman's office there to handle administrative disputes, but they've been prevented from doing so by cost. His question is, how else could we infuse a culture of mediation in the administrative setting to diffuse conflict at the level where rules are made?
Oh, not a simple question to answer.
Yeah. I give you the hard question.
I don't know enough about the organization there, but I think the general answer I would have is to try to get a group of people who are in the organization, you know, faculty, whatever, and to try to set up some sort of voluntary system where this group of people maybe all get trained as mediators and maybe train other people, and that they then offer their services as volunteers. So therefore you get around the cost, but also you're already on the inside. People know you, respect you. And so when, George and Susan have a conflict, they say, well, Harry's a trained mediator, maybe he can help us. Or when George is having trouble dealing with Susan, maybe George will go and say, Harry, I'm having trouble with Susan over here. Can you help me figure out how to, get this thing through? So I guess that's what I would suggest. And that comes from, because that's how mediation started in North Carolina, volunteers going into the court system saying, courts, we're here. If you want to refer us cases, we'll be happy to take cases off of your hands, particularly problematic, difficult cases. And so the court started referring small cases to these volunteers all over the state of North Carolina. And that's really where mediation started here. So I guess it's sort of springing off of that success, I would suggest getting some people who are like-minded in your organization and try to form sort of a mediation committee or a mediation task force or whatever you want to call it. Get some training and then offer your services for free to others around. And once like I say, I guess I'm the preacher of mediation as well. That once people try it, they will find they like it.
Aksana, do you find that that approach has served well in Belarus? Is that something that's common? What I found in my research is that most European countries must pursue mediation before a court merits of the case. So my question is, the organic approach, do you think the courts should embrace it even more, or is it just an evolving process?
So I try to answer this question. Maybe, as I can see, that maybe mediation, like a technology, like a tool, is very good with Belarusian people, because Belarusian people like or prefer peaceful methods of dispute resolution. And so we have a lot of specialists, and we have a lot of people who prefer to deal with peaceful methods. And I think it helps to promote mediation at the upper level as well, at the court system. For example, so every year we have some changes in law. From this year, we are going to have a recommendation for information meeting with mediator. And when people will come to the court, or family will come to the court, or to the court, they will be advised to go to mediator. Also, mediation agreement is now compulsory in our country from this year. So, and it is also very important. For example, some years ago, as a practical mediator, I had a lot of problems in writing mediation agreement because I had to think a lot how to put Belarusian law into mediation and how to help people to provide this mediation agreement. Now this mediation agreement is compulsory, which makes these documents also important for court or for other offices working with law as well.
Arsen, in Uzbekistan, as you go to consult there, is that situation similar, or do you see it becoming a mandatory component of the judicial process? If let me put it this way, according to Frank, Belarus right now is where North Carolina was 15 years ago.
More like 10.
Or 10 years ago. 10 years ago. When you go to Uzbekistan, where is Uzbekistan on that timeline? Is it where Belarus was back in 2013 when it was approved? 2014? Or where is it on the timeline of mediation being accepted?
From the point of view, the law about mediation, they on the start of, but not just on the start, but start and 3 or 5 years of the way to functionally mediation. But in the Uzbekistan, there is one culture speciality as a mahalla. This is a part of common life in villages or towns where people live in community, and they have a great traditions about dispute resolutions by old people or old men in the village or in the town, in the little town. But in the big city now, in the Uzbekistan big city, this community is not so strong as in the village, and they need a mediation as a law, as one of the two when the young people who don't know about old culture things can use mediation in family conflicts or in the commercial conflicts. But I think they want to use the family mediation, because Uzbekistan is a specific country where business is not so great as in Belarus, or on my point of view, is not so great as in Belarus or in the USA. So,
I'm sorry, continue.
no, they want more the family mediation. That's my mind.
So Frank, what I'm gathering when I listen to Arsen and Aksana is, I'm curious how you feel as they came here to be a part of the program and got to know you, and now you've seen how they've grown over the years. Now you're seeing what they're doing in other countries and elsewhere in Belarus. It's got to feel pretty cool to see what happened, what came out of North Carolina's mediation.
Yes, I hold them close in my heart. I appreciate the work that they're doing, the progress that they're making, and also the fact that they're spreading it around other places. That Belarus is leading the way in their region of the world on trying to promote and promulgate and spread mediation.
Dare I say, mediation is certainly important in the United States as we are in an election season. Regardless of COVID and quarantine, it is nonetheless an election season, presidential election this year for us. Your country, Aksana, is also about to go into elections, upcoming election in August. One of the questions from our participants is, what's the situation like with the upcoming election over in Belarus right now?
Mm-hmm. So the situation is anxious. I hope so. Maybe there are some news about what is happening. So in Minsk, we have some people who would like to see new candidate for president. So, and the events and how to say, so the election events is going different like it was some years ago, or some elections experiences ago. So as for me, I am looking for something new. And also, I am anxious about the events which is going in August. So I don't exactly what is going on, but
Anxious certainly sums it up no matter what side of the pond you're on, especially right now. For those of you in the audience who don't know, when you talk about new leadership, President Lukashenko has been Belarus's president since 1994. Arsen, do you anticipate for going out to vote that COVID might have some effect on that? Because for the most part, the response in Belarus, at least from what I've read, has been very much another grassroots example of folks sort of taking the precautions that they see fit. Do you see the voting process to be any different this time around?
I think people want to take to make their choice, and these elections have a new character because this situation is new for Belarus when so many candidates wants to be a president in Belarus, and situation is difficult, but I think in these elections very big very many people want to take part in elections, because in the last elections some people ignoring elections and don't go to make a vote. But I'm trying to be neutral now in my university and with my friends, but I'm trying to be neutral.
Well, you are a recently certified mediator, so it's a good policy
Yes.
to adopt and to cling to. Frank, I would say I would ask you when you hope to get back to Belarus, but in light of quarantine, COVID, international travel restrictions, and the fact that maybe after our election we need some good mediators here, I don't know if we want you to go there sooner rather than later.
Well, I do have, I was going in the spring, but all that got canceled. I have some vague plans to go in the fall, but they're looking dimmer and dimmer as the days go by. I guess for the audience, I would like to say that the shirt I'm wearing is, when I started going several times, I wanted to leave souvenirs for the people who are in my classes. And so I had these shirts made up. Actually, they're printed in Minsk.
Yeah.
I took a first few across the Atlantic, and I decided it's really dumb to carry t-shirts across the Atlantic. They do have t-shirts in Belarus, so I now buy them in Belarus. But it's, it's mediation and mediatia, the Russian, and shaking hands across the Atlantic between North Carolina and Belarus. And so one of my sayings is, I'm turning Belarus yellow one mediator at a time. So that's my goal.
You're certainly personifying the international focus mission, which is, face-to-face diplomacy, and to introduce and appreciate North Carolina culture, as well as the culture from our friends, no matter where they're from. I would like to thank everyone who's joined us today. This has been such a fascinating discussion on mediation, but also a bit more broadly on your paths, both Arsen and Aksana, and your unique, fun connection, Frank, in all of this. Aksana, when do you think you'll be able to, when would you like to come back and visit to the US? You've got a move coming, so I guess it wouldn't be able to happen anyway.
anytime. I would like to come to visit the USA, and if I would have such opportunities, so I would be very lucky and very happy.
Yes.
Yeah, and Arsen, judging from the praise that you received from your former hosts, you need to come back to the U.S. and put your English skills to good use again.
Oh yeah, I was impressed by culture and mm, language in the USA, and anytime I'm ready to go to take lessons in my English.
Perfect. And Frank, for our audience, what can you encourage anyone who's here and wants to be involved in mediation or learn more about mediation? What sort of resources are out there for folks who are interested here in the Triangle?
Well, there's various mediation training courses. The Dispute Resolution Commission is the one who is charged with handling mediation or governing mediation for the court system. But that's just sort of where a lot of mediation has congregated, and they've approved training. And actually, for the very first time, they have training available online. And so the trainings are usually either 16 hours or 40 hours. But for those, there's also volunteer local mediation centers. There's one here in Wake County. There's one in Durham County. There's one in Chapel Hill. They're scattered all around. And so if people are interested in volunteering, and as a volunteer, they'll give you training. And so if you're interested in learning how to do this and incorporating it in your life skills, once upon a time, I did a training for a local organization, and we billed it as, you know, mediation is for teachers and school and principals and lawyers and doctors and blah, 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 and anybody who works with people. If you work with people, if you live with people, then mediation skills are something that you could use in your daily life. And so there's a lot of different opportunities. The Mediation Network, if you want to Google Mediation Network, that's the network of all those volunteer centers. And on their website, you can find out more about training in other locations around the state.
Well, thank you for referencing those resources. Thank you for sharing your story, Frank. Thank you, Arsen and Aksana, for joining us. It's getting close to midnight your time. I hope you both have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
One final question. Just one of the audience members snuck this in. As a tennis fan, please ask Aksana how her country managed to create so many great players. I must say, I haven't been able to watch tennis in a while, but
Belarus does have some phenomenal, I'm not a tennis fan, but I do know that Belarus has some phenomenal tennis players.
Victoria Azarenka.
Well, hopefully we can start watching more sports again, and our countries can emerge out of this quarantine safely for all of us. Well, best of luck to both of you. Congratulations on your new opportunities. Frank, again, thank you. And thank you all for joining us today for this Global Diplomacy Dialogue. I want to say a special thanks to today's sponsors, Sharon Goldenberg and Jeffrey Lariche. If you are interested in wanting to sponsor one of our e-talks or Global Diplomacy Dialogues, again, they're every Friday at 4 p.m. our time here in Raleigh. I encourage you to reach out to Layla Bekri, the Executive Director at International Focus. I also encourage you to reach out to your friends and invite them to attend this and invite them to join International Focus. And if you're interested to explore opportunities so that you can host visiting dignitaries and friends from overseas as part of International Focus's host families. Thanks again for joining us. I'm looking forward to next week. Next week, we will have a e-talk with the Triangle MLK Junior Committee head. And I think that's a good tease for next week as we celebrate all of us this Juneteenth today. My name is Sean Maroney. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.